Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Get ready to shift your perspective, because today we are plunging into wisdom from a source you might not immediately think of, but one that holds immense power.
That's right. We've been immersing ourselves in excerpts from a truly special book, 30 Lessons for Living, Tried and True Advice from the Wisest Americans by Karl Pillemer.
And the title really says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just one person's opinion or, some pop psychology trend.
No, not at all.
This is grounded in an incredible research project, a 5-year endeavor, where the author systematically gathered insights from over 1,000 older Americans. Imagine that.
Yeah, just think. Distilling 1,000 lifetimes of experience into practical guidance for your life. It's pretty amazing.
It's quite ambitious and, frankly, necessary, maybe.
I think so. Our mission in this deep dive is to really explore the core argument Pillemer makes. Why he believes elders are uniquely positioned, to offer advice on living well.
We want to uncover the foundational insights from the introduction and the first chapter that we've been digging into.
Basically trying to understand his whole premise.
We're basically trying to get a shortcut, aren't we? Accessing a kind of crystal ball view of life's common challenges and decisions through the eyes of people who've already navigated them. It's like getting the cheat sheet from the folks who've already aced the test.
Exactly. And that central idea is such a powerful counterpoint to the kind of advice we're often bombarded with today.
That's something the author jumps into right away. He points out the sheer volume of advice out there, 30,000 plus self-help titles.
Yeah, and the billion-dollar industry behind it all, gurus, websites, seminars, it's everywhere.
We are drowning in it.
And yet, the paradox he highlights is that despite this flood of information promising happiness and fulfillment, so many people still feel lost, unhappy, or unfulfilled. It really makes you wonder.
It begs the question, what is the quality and source of all this advice? What gives these conventional sources their claimed authority,
Right, and he comes to this himself, doesn't he? Pillemer's background was in gerontology.
Yeah, studying the problems of aging illness, decline, the challenges of nursing home care. He was focused on the difficulties.
But he started to have this growing sense that he was missing a crucial piece. Advice on how to live the good life itself, not just how to cope with the end of it.
Right.
Yes, he describes reaching a point around age 50 where he gained a different perspective, what he calls the long view.
The long view. I like that.
He started recognizing patterns in the struggles younger people face, patterns he'd lived through himself, and he began experiencing this sort of nascent sense of acceptance, a deeper appreciation for small, simple pleasures.
Interesting.
This personal shift seems to have catalyzed his thinking, leading him to the fundamental question for the book. Can the oldest among us truly be considered experts on how to live?
And there's a specific story, isn't there? A really vivid encounter that cemented this idea for him. The story of June Driscoll.
June. Yes. This anecdote in the source material is incredibly moving, really powerful. Pillemer met her in a nursing home, a setting he describes as, quite institutional.
Yeah.
And her physical state was precarious, thin, vision failing, needing total care after nearly 90 years of life. Her body was undeniably failing her.
It sounds like a place and a situation where you would expect despair, or at least resignation,
Not cheerfulness. But when a nurse asked June how she was, her response was anything but resigned.
What did she say?
Just fine, she replied in surprisingly strong voice. Pillemer was struck by her apparent cheerfulness, the sense that she was genuinely having a good time despite her circumstances.
No.
He was so intrigued he had to ask her directly, how can you be so positive?
And her explanation is the turning point for him.
Right.
And a real gut check for the reader, I found.
Definitely. She didn't gloss over her past. She recounted a life of immense hardship. Growing up in a shack with a dirt floor and no indoor plumbing.
Oh my goodness.
Raising 6 children with a disabled husband, bone-tired from work, surviving the depression with barely enough food.
Just unimaginable struggle.
She painted a picture of a life defined by struggle and scarcity. But then she sharply contrasted it with her present. She had a roof, regular meals, kind care providers. She was alive. She could hear. Her vision was still okay enough. There were activities.
She focused on what she did have.
Exactly. And her conclusion, the line that hit Pillemer so forcefully.
What was it again?
Happiness is what you make it, where you are. And she didn't just say it, she emphasized it. It's my responsibility to be as happy as I can be right here today.
Wow. That's profound, especially coming from her situation.
That moment, that profound insight coming from someone in such challenging physical circumstances was the catalyst. It launched his 5-year journey to systematically capture this kind of hard-won wisdom.
It makes you stop and think, doesn't it? We often feel our happiness is dictated by external factors, by getting everything right. June's story completely flips that on its head.
Absolutely.
And it perfectly illustrates the core argument Pillemer makes, that older Americans are uniquely qualified as the experts on living.
He lays out several compelling reasons for this claim. Firstly, the most obvious but most crucial. They possess the unique wisdom of lived experience.
Right. They've actually done it.
They've actually been where younger people are going. While they might not have the latest app or, knowledge of cryptocurrencies, their perspective on navigating relationships, career paths, raising kids, handling setbacks that's been tested over decades. You simply cannot get that kind of insight without living through it yourself.
And they've seen how choices play out over the long haul. That's invaluable.
Exactly. The second reason is tied to that difficult past June described: extraordinary resilience. This generation, the elder experts Pillemer interviewed, they faced immense challenges many younger generations haven't experienced firsthand.
Like what specifically?
Widespread illness, economic collapse like the Depression, global conflict like WWII, deep-seated social inequalities and oppression. Surviving and absorbing these experiences gives them what he calls transcendental wisdom.
Transcendental wisdom.
They've been pushed to their absolute limits and learned fundamental truths about perseverance, loss, and what truly matters.
It's wisdom forged in fire, really.
It really is. And third, they offer an essential historical perspective. Having lived through vastly different eras, times of, say, a cleaner environment, stronger community ties, where people left doors unlocked.
Imagine that, unlocked doors.
A different relationship with materialism, they view contemporary problems and choices through a unique lens. Their perspective on wealth, community, progress, it challenges some of our most ingrained modern assumptions.
Just that small detail about unlocked doors makes you instantly think about how much society has changed and maybe what might have been lost along the way.
It does. It forces you to consider what assumptions you're making about how things are based solely on your own limited time frame. And that leads directly to the fourth reason their advice is so valuable. It often serves as an antidote to conventional wisdom.
How so?
Well, their insights don't fit neatly into modern political or social categories. Pillemer notes that their advice can sometimes sound liberal, emphasizing tolerance, questioning materialism, and sometimes conservative, like the importance of commitment in marriage.
Oh, okay.
But often it's simply different, offering a fresh perspective on things like patience, the value of work, or attitude towards time. This challenges the scripts for happiness that modern society often feeds us.
So it's not just about confirming what we already think, but actively prompting us to question our own deeply held beliefs. Makes sense.
Precisely. And by interviewing over 1,000 individuals, the project taps into a powerful concept: the wisdom of crowds.
Right, like collective intelligence.
Yeah, it's the idea that the collective experience and insights of a large, diverse group, filtered and analyzed, can be far more profound and reliable than the pronouncements of any single pundit or guru, no matter how convincing they sound.
It's like crowdsourcing the meaning of life, but from the most experienced sources available. So tell us a bit more about the process. How did he actually collect all this incredible information from 1,000+ people? That sounds like a huge undertaking.
It was. The sources describe it as a rigorous, multi-method approach over those 5 years. Pillemer didn't just rely on one way of collecting data. He layered his methods to get a rich, detailed picture.
So more than just sending out a simple survey then?
Oh, much more. It started with collecting written responses from hundreds of individuals, asking broad questions about their most important life lessons or the advice they'd give younger generations. That gave him a wide range of initial perspectives.
Okay, that's a good starting point, kind of casting a wide net.
Then he conducted a scientifically random national telephone survey with over 300 participants. This allowed him to ask specific questions across different life domains, marriage, career, child rearing, to see what patterns emerged across a representative group of older Americans.
Ah, so that adds some statistical weight to the themes.
Exactly, getting both the qualitative stories and some quantitative data. But to really get the depth, the heart of the wisdom, he conducted in-depth interviews with around 300 people.
Okay.
People who were nominated by others as being particularly wise.
Nominated.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, and these were lengthy interviews where people shared their entire life histories, providing the rich context and stories behind the lessons they offered.
That's where the real color comes in, I bet. Connecting the lesson to the lived experience.
Absolutely. And it was by reviewing and sorting through the thousands upon thousands of pieces of advice, stories, and insights collected through these different methods that Pillemer was able to distill them down.
Must have been a massive job.
Huge. He found common threads, recurring themes, and structured them into the 30 core lessons, organized within 6 major areas of life.
Which cover pretty much the biggest decisions and challenges we all face. The sources list them outright.
They do. The book promises deep dives into advice on building a successful and lasting marriage, finding and keeping a fulfilling career, effectively raising children, approaching aging with courage and grace, how to actively avoid regrets in life, and importantly, how to make the absolute most of life even when faced with significant challenges.
That sounds comprehensive.
Pillemer even calculates the collective amount of experience represented like something mind-boggling, 30,000 years of marriage experience from the participants alone.
30,000 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an unimaginable depth of perspective on just one aspect of life.
It underscores the unique value proposition of this book. Pillemer presents these lessons not as theoretical musings, but as a practical roadmap. It's drawn directly from the combined experience of countless individuals.
People who've been there.
Exactly. People who have already traveled the path of life, stumbled, picked themselves up, navigated the difficult terrain, and found what truly leads to fulfillment and peace in the long run.
It's like having a map drawn by generations of successful explorers. That's a great analogy.
Precisely. This isn't wisdom from an academic ivory tower or a polished television studio. It's from real people who have lived through immense change and personal trials.
Real lives.
Real lessons, offering insights that Pillemer suggests are like secrets about life that younger people might not truly grasp until they face those same challenges themselves. It's about learning from those who have already arrived at the destination.
So, as we wrap up this first look into 30 lessons for living, the foundational idea is incredibly compelling. There's profound, hard-won wisdom waiting for us if we are willing to consciously seek it out from those who have walked before us, especially those who have lived long and faced significant challenges.
And I keep coming back to June Driscoll's story. Someone in extreme physical difficulty, yet her simple declaration about the responsibility for her own happiness.
Yeah.
It's just profoundly powerful.
Which really leaves us with a thought to carry forward, doesn't it? For you listening. How does knowing that happiness can be a choice, even in the face of the kind of extreme hardship June Driscoll experienced, challenge your own daily perspective on what determines your well-being?
It's a big question. And beyond that, maybe think about how actively seeking out the perspectives of the elders in your own life, your grandparents, older neighbors, mentors, how that might unlock similar deep wisdom for you.
Yeah.
It's a source of guidance that's often overlooked, I think, but is incredibly rich and waiting to be tapped.
Something powerful to reflect on. We've just scratched the surface of Pillemer's research and the incredible wisdom he's collected. In our next deep dive, we'll start unpacking some of the specific lessons distilled from these experts on living.
That's right. We'll begin by looking at what the elders had to say about one of the most central aspects of life: relationships, marriage, commitment, that sort of thing.
Ooh, that'll be fascinating. So stay with us as we continue our journey through these timeless lessons. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.